Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, we often say numbers tell a story.
hmm
But when you're looking at something like district enrollment data, well, it feels more like multiple stories running at the same time.
That's exactly right. And today we're digging into a pretty dense stack of sources. It's the complete year-over-year enrollment snapshot for the entire district.
Taken October 30th, 2025.
That's the one. And our task really is to put together a clear, impartial briefing for you, our listener.
Right. Synthesize it all.
Yeah. We need to start with the executive summary, the main takeaways, and then
Well,
really get into the details, the causes behind the changes, the shifts in demographics.
okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
So if we were putting together that quick briefing, that executive summary,
Yeah.
what's the single most critical piece, maybe the most conflicting point we need to lead with?
Well, the headline is definitely the net decline in students. But the really crucial context is that this decline isn't spread evenly at all.
Yeah.
Overall, the district saw a net decrease of 466 students. That takes enrollment down from 13,376 to 12,910.
466, that's substantial.
It is. But, and this is the key point, that drop actually hides some massive mandated growth on specific campuses, growth that happened because of district decisions.
Okay, I see the contrast you're talking about.
Mhm.
So let's pinpoint those areas, the schools that were intentionally given more students this year.
Okay, so there are two really big elementary school stories here. First, Kendrick Elementary. They saw an increase of 270 students.
Wow, 270, that's the biggest jump anywhere.
By far the largest single campus increase, yes. And right behind them, the second largest spike was South Waco Elementary, which is up 121 students.
And you're saying these weren't just like popular schools people moved to?
No, these schools were specifically assigned students. It wasn't organic growth.
Got it. So if those are the spots with forced expansion, where did the district take the biggest hit, the largest single drop?
That loss really hits hard at the high school level. Waco High School saw its enrollment drop by 170 students compared to last year.
170. Okay, so that's the largest single campus decline we see in this snapshot.
That's correct.
Now, beyond just the sheer number of students, the headcount you mentioned, programmatic demands, it sounds like the type of student services needed is changing, even as the total number shrinks.
That's perhaps the most important programmatic shift this year, and it has major resource implications. We saw really significant increases in required services. The number of students identified for special education, for example, grew by 250 across the district.
250 more students needing SPE services?
Exactly. That pushes resource needs way up. And similarly, the number of students identified with dyslexia grew by 106.
Okay.
But what's interesting is while those needs were rising, the number of students identified as limited English proficient, or LEP, actually decreased district-wide by 209 students.
Huh. So more SPED, more dyslexia support needed, but fewer LEP students overall. That's quite a mix.
Okay, that executive summary really sets the stage. Net loss, but these pockets of massive mandated growth and shifting needs. Let's transition now from the what to the why. We need to unpack the specific district decisions that caused those big spikes at the elementary and middle school levels.
Right. And we can trace this mandated growth very directly. For both Kendrick Elementary, with its huge plus 270 increase, and South Waco Elementary, up 121.
Yeah.
The primary cause, the main driver for that enrollment boom, was the closure of Alta Vista Elementary.
Okay. That was the consolidation plan from last year.
Exactly. It was a strategic decision, mandated, and these two campuses basically absorbed the student population from Alta Vista. That explains the dramatic growth.
That absorption, especially at Kendrick with 270 new kids, that must have presented some real challenges. The data shows a pretty big demographic shift there too, right? Reflecting the students who moved over. Absolutely. It wasn't just about finding desk space. It was about programs. At Kendrick, look at this. The LEP population shot up by 155 students.
Wow.
And their bilingual enrollment jumped by 149 students. Think about that. When you absorb another campus, you inherit all their specific mandated needs instantly.
Increasing bilingual services for 149 new students in one go.
Yeah, that's a huge operational lift for a single campus.
Massive.
Okay, let's shift to the middle school level. Cesar Chavez Middle School also saw growth, you mentioned, an increase of 49 students. What was the structural change there?
That growth was also mandated, but through a different mechanism, redistricting. The district specifically redrew attendance boundaries,
Okay.
and that change moved the Kate Ross Housing Authority into the Cesar Chavez attendance zone.
I see. So that boundary shift directly explains the growth.
It does, and it also helps explain a corresponding programmatic shift there, too. Cesar Chavez saw its special education population increase by 45 students.
Reflecting the needs of the students coming in from the redrawn zone. It appears so. It shows how boundary changes don't just move numbers, they move specific service requirements.
Okay, so those are the, let's call them controlled changes, the district moving students deliberately. Now let's pivot. Let's look at where the district seems to be losing students, perhaps more organically. You said the high school data had a real twist.
Yeah, the high schools show a really sharp polarization. Let's start with Waco High School. We already said they lost 170 students overall.
Which was the biggest drop in the district.
Right. And that loss was heavily concentrated at two really critical points in a student's journey. The entry point, 9th grade, and then the junior year, 11th grade.
How bad was the 9th grade drop?
Their 9th grade class decreased by 96 students, 96 fewer freshmen than the year before.
Wow. Nearly 100 students missing from the incoming class. That's deeply concerning for their future enrollment pipeline, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It suggests a major issue right at the entry point, whether those students are moving out, choosing charter schools, private schools, whatever the reason. A drop of 96 in one grade is huge.
And the 11th grade?
Found by 61 students. Also, contributing to the overall loss at Waco High. Their LEP enrollment dropped by 67 students.
Okay. Now, how does that compare to University High School? You said they were stable overall.
Numerically, yes. University High's total enrollment only changed by 2 students, basically flat.
Yeah. Not.
That stability hides some really big internal shifts.
Okay. What's happening inside?
Well, they had a significant gain in their 12th grade class, which was up by 60 students.
60 more seniors. That sounds like good retention, maybe? Or students returning?
Could be either, yeah. Strong retention or students coming back to graduate. But that gain was almost completely canceled out by drops in the younger grades. 9th grade was down 12, and 10th grade was down 36.
So similar pressure on the earlier high school grades, just maybe not as severe as Waco High.
Exactly. And just like the overall district trend we saw, University High experienced large increases in mandated services. Special education went up by 31 students, and dyslexia services increased for 41 students there.
Interesting. Okay, let's look at the other middle schoolers now. We covered Cesar Chavez's mandated growth. What about the other end of the spectrum? G.W. Carver Middle School had the largest middle school decline, right? Down 90 students.
That's right. Carver lost 90 students overall. And again, look where the loss is concentrated. The incoming grades. Their 6th grade class was down 51 students.
51 fewer 6th graders.
And 7th grade dropped by 36. So Carver's really an example of a campus seeing significant, maybe organic attrition hitting those crucial feeder grades hard. Also interesting there, their economically disadvantaged population dropped by 99.
And the flip side, any middle school growth besides Chavez?
Yes, Tennyson Middle School saw some growth. They were up 39 students overall.
Where did they go?
Mostly in 6th grade, which is up 25, and 8th grade up 16. And just like Cesar Chavez, Tennyson saw a really dramatic jump in special education services. They added 57 students needing SPED support.
Another example of needs increasing even with moderate enrollment changes. Okay, let's zoom out again for a minute. That total district drop of 466 students. If we look at it purely by grade level across the entire district, where are the biggest weak spots in the student pipeline?
Well, the earliest grades are really flashing warning signs. The biggest drops were right at the beginning. Pre-kindergarten lost 109 students district-wide.
Wow, over 100 fewer pre-K students.
And kindergarten was down by 62 students. So that's our pipeline problem right there, isn't it? Fewer students entering the system at the very start.
Definitely. And in the secondary grades.
The largest loss there, as we noted from the high school data, was the 9th grade, down 97 students across the district.
So big hits at pre-K, K, and 9th grade. Are there any bright spots, any grades that actually showed growth?
Yes, there were a few. The data shows definite growth in 5th grade, up 47 students, 8th grade up 12, and importantly 12th grade, which was up 52 students district-wide.
So 12th grade is up 52, but 9th grade is down 97.
Correct. It suggests that maybe once students get past those tricky entry points pre-KK in the start of high school, the district might actually be doing a pretty good job of holding on to them through graduation.
That's an interesting dynamic. Okay, this brings us back around to the programmatic focus the resource implications.
Hmm.
Let's just underscore the scale of those increases in mandated services again. We're talking 250 new special education students and 106 new dyslexia students across the district.
Yeah, and this is absolutely critical for anyone thinking about administration, staffing, budgets. Special education is up by 250 students. That brings the total number needing those complex, legally required services to 2,721.
Almost 3,000 students.
And dyslexia services are up by 106 students, hitting 1,371 total. This kind of growth doesn't just mean hiring more specialized teachers. It means huge pressure on budgets for things like aides, specific training, curriculum materials, ongoing monitoring.
All while the overall enrollment number, which often drives general state funding, is going down.
Precisely. It suggests that even though the total student population is shrinking, the needs, the intensity of the needs of the remaining students are increasing quite dramatically.
Okay, lastly, let's just touch on a couple of other elementary schools quickly, just to illustrate the kind of fluctuation happening at the neighborhood level. We saw the big mandated growth at Kendrick in South Waco, but where else did we see significant changes?
Well, mirroring the overall decline, several elementaries saw losses. For example, Bells Hill lost 64 students. Cedar Ridge was down 41, Dean Highland also down 41. These likely reflect some of that organic decline hitting specific neighborhoods.
But it's not always straightforward decline, is it? Some schools have internal shifts even if the total number doesn't change much.
Exactly. Look at Parkdale Elementary. Their overall number only decreased by 14 students. Pretty stable, right?
Yeah.
But inside Parkdale, their kindergarten class dropped by 21 students, while at the same time their first grade class grew by 19 students.
Whoa. So one grade shrinks significantly, the next grade up swells. That requires some quick adjustments on the ground for staffing and class sizes, doesn't it?
Immediately. Year over year, that's a tactical challenge.
Yeah.
And one more example showing the persistence of need, Brook Avenue Elementary. Their total enrollment barely changed, just increased by 4 students.
Okay, very stable.
But they added 23 students to their special education population. It just illustrates that high needs can persist or even grow, regardless of whether the total headcount is going up or down. So to wrap up this briefing, we confirmed the district's net loss of 466 students overall, but I think we've effectively synthesized the data to show how that number really masks these very significant localized growth spurts.
Right, growth directly caused by those big operational decisions, closing Alta Vista, redrawing the Chavez boundary.
Exactly. And the critical tension we keep seeing is that while the total number of students is down, the demand for specialized resource-intensive services is substantially up.
So, looking ahead, what does this really paint a picture of? It seems like a district going through some major structural changes, fewer students coming in at the bottom, especially pre-K, K, and ninth grade, while the students who are in the system require, proportionally, more specialized and often more expensive support, like special ed and dyslexia services.
That seems to be the core story emerging from this snapshot.
Okay, so here's something for you, our listener, to think about as you digest these numbers. We highlighted that the ninth grade saw the biggest secondary drop, down 97 students across the district. But 12th grade actually grew up 52 students.
Right, that retention versus entry point issue.
Exactly. So if the district seems relatively successful at keeping students once they're settled into high school, say past 10th grade, but is struggling significantly at attracting or retaining them right at that ninth grade entry point, what kind of strategic shift, beyond just allocating resources for current needs, does the district need to consider to fix that really significant leak in the pipeline?